Alright, hello everyone. I think we're live. Is anyone here in chat? Anyhow, today we're going to be making a game of Go, which is a board game where with two players you have to in turn put some pieces down, and the aim is to surround the enemy pieces in order to capture them. So, hello Kuro, how are you doing today? And hello Kyle Askew. Anyhow, let's start. I'm probably going to make this with a tile map again. I'm going to create a sprite for our tile mate. And hello Peter Tuma. So it's going to be SBR pieces. And let's edit the image. So a normal Go board is 19 by 19. So if we're working with a normal-ish resolution, I'm trying to think. What's the default room size? 1024 by 7. If we have 768 and we want a proper room size, a proper thing, so if we have 758 divided by 19, that gives us about 39 pixels to work with per piece. So I think 32 by 32 should be good. So let's have the black and white pieces. Alright, that should do. We want, actually I'm going to rename this S pieces like I normally do. Let's create a tile map. We're just going to get our S pieces, and it's a 32 by 32. So I hope a game of Go is actually an interesting thing to do. I think it is, because it's quite interesting to see how we can calculate surrounding, so how we can check whether an island is being surrounded or not. I think I have a couple ideas as to how we could do this. So let's get started with our controller object. So let's just call it OGame. So the point of this object will be to handle the entire game, and so the way we're going to do it is to first of all put this full screen, maybe turn the size down a bit, hide this. So this will just initialize our game event object, and so the idea is that we're going to have, we're going to store each of the different connected pieces together inside a list. That way we can easily check whether a set of connected pieces are surrounded or not. And then whenever you add a piece, you check whether it's surrounded by a piece or not. And if it is, add it to that set of connected pieces. So for all of our different connected pieces, which I'm going to call islands, I don't know what they're called, like officially or whatever. I'm going to call them islands. So islands is going to be equal to ds_list create. So this is going to be a list of more lists, because every time we create a new island, we're going to be adding a list to it. Next, we need also to have a piece, which I never know how to spell. I always spell it wrong. So just not to embarrass myself, I'm going to click and check which way around it is. Yeah, that's the way to spell it. So piece island map is going to be equal to ds map create. And so this map is going to hold what island each piece belongs to. In fact, we don't actually need a map. We could do this with a grid. What I'm going to do instead is have a grid, which is going to be our main game grid, and do ds grid create. And the width and height, so 19 at 19, and actually, because variants do exist, let's quickly do width equals 19, height equals 19, and initialize this to width and height. So this is our create thingy. Now we need a script to add a yeah, let's actually first define what the grid is going to hold. It's going to hold both the piece that's on the grid, so 1 for white and 2 for black or something like that. And it's also going to hold the island that this piece currently belongs to, which is going to be a list. So what we can do now is, yes, create a new script. So Alt C, is it? Nope, Alt. Okay, my keyboard shortcuts are not working again, so let's just create a new script, which is going to be, first of all, named as just nothing, add a place piece maybe, and it's just going to place a piece on the board. It's going to take a couple arguments. So it's going to take the X position on the board. It's going to take the Y position on the board. And it's going to take what color to put it on, which I'm just going to call color. So var X equals 0, var, well actually I'm going to have to go underscore X underscore Y equals argument 0, that should be argument 1, var color equals argument 2. So now we want to check whether there is a piece around the piece we already added, and we don't do diagonals, we just do crosses. So we can say that what we can do, okay, so in order to iterate through neighboring cells, what I'd like to do is have an array named var offsets, and basically have an array of arrays with say -1, 0, 0, -1, and crew. Yes, I did have a Good Friday. Actually, no, I had a good Thursday, but then on Friday I had to travel. Well, I was traveling this morning, so I didn't have time Friday night to stream, which is why I'm streaming now. So yeah, thanks for asking. It was Thursday was pretty great. And then we're gonna have 0, 1. So this way we have all the offsets we want to traverse, and then it's pretty easy to just do for var I equals 0, I is equal smaller than array length 1D offsets increment I. How was your guys' Friday? Was it okay without my stream? Hopefully it was. Alright, so I got my indices, then I can say var offset equals offsets I. Do I know how to change color of a sprite? Within the sprite editor, I'm not sure. I haven't used the new sprite editor much yet. If you're changing the color of an object being drawn, you can just use, what is it called? Image fade? Image blend. You can use image blend and set it to say see red, for example, and that will tint it red. With program, if you want to change it for like ever, you could create a surface and then maybe even create a buffer from that, change any color, anything you want on the CPU, recreate the buffer, recreate the surface, create a sprite from that. It's a bit weird. You're much better off using a shader. So with shaders, you have the fragment shader, which is just for that, changing colors of sprites or textures or whatever. So then we want to get our X component of it. Actually, what we can do is say var p, which is going to be our piece like surrounding, is going to be equal to our grid at position offset 1, 0, offset 1. And now I see you posted a link. I would check it out if I had a second screen and everything, but it's a bit of a hassle right now with my single screen. But if you're just talking about changing, like, say, color palettes and stuff like that, you just use a shader. You just type like color swap shader or something like that. You'll see lots of examples online, and GameMaker supports shaders, both GLSL, HLSL, and so on. So now what we want to do is, what we should do really is have a var IL for islands is going to be equal to ds_list create, and then delete it down here. So ds_list destroy IL, and in here we can say if p is not equal to undefined. If your phone doesn't support shaders, it's probably because your phone, it's because you don't have a good, like, modern enough GPU or something on your phone. If you don't want to use shaders, then your best bet is to, if you want to do a palette swap, you want to just change the sprite. You know, you do pixel by pixel, changing it on the CPU. Horrendously slow. I don't recommend it, especially if the color is going to change all the time. And if you're going to be just fading it, again, just use image blend, and you can easily add color to your sprites. So if p is not equal to undefined, so basically if there is something at p, then what the format p is going to hold is going to be an array from with the first elements being the color of the piece placed, and the second element being the island it belongs to. So we're going to say il dot, no, wait, that's not Java, ds_list add il, and we're going to add p at position 1, which is eventually going to hold the island that piece belongs to. So now we have a bunch of connected islands, and first of all we're going to merge all the islands together if there's more than one. So if ds_list size il is greater than 0, greater than 1, that means there's more than one, then what we want is to create a new island. So yeah, so what we'll do is say var island, and we can say for, actually what we can do is say var, yes, no, this is probably the best way, and then we can say island dot, ooh, this is going to be slightly complicated because we need to merge the two things, but then we need to go through all of the pieces and tell them what they actually hold. So I'm going to assume that our list will hold a bunch of coordinates, in which case we should do for, we should go through each of our islands for var I is equal to 0, I is smaller than array ds_list size il I++, and then if, oh wait, no, then before that we should create a new list, and then add to that list all the items inside, all the, yes, we need a second loop, so we can say var j equals 0, actually right here we should say var, I don't know, we need a new thing, so we have the current island we're adding on, and then we need an inner island, so we're going to call oi for other islands equals il at position I, and for var equals j is more than ds list size oi j plus plus, and in here we are going to be adding, we're going to say ds list add. If you're asking me if I have finished games, not really. Maybe one or two that I kind of finished for game jams, but I haven't ever worked on like a big enough project. I am working on one now. I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish it. I really do hope so. It's going well so far. But no, I don't have much that I would like refer you to. I think there's a couple online ones you can find if you really look for them, but I don't think I even posted them under the same name, so yeah, not much. So we're gonna add to island, we're gonna add oi at position j, and so now island is a list filled with all of the pieces that are connected. However, we have a bunch of other DS lists we have to free. So we can say inside this list is where it should be, DS list destroy, and it is, let's see, OI? That can't be right. Yes, OI, that's right. We want to destroy the other island. What we can also do is, let me think. Let's see. We have, yes, in here, we should actually get our piece from this. We should say P equals OI at position J. And then our piece is basically an X and Y coordinate. So then we could say grid at position no, this would be our coordinates, so let's call this pause. This is getting a bit complicated, but I hope you guys are following. You're probably not following very clearly. As soon as I'm done writing this small section, I'll go over it, explain exactly what I'm trying to do. Then here we can say pause, let's see. No, we want to say that grid, let's see, piece is equal to grid at position pause X, pause Y. And then piece at position 1, which is the island that we're currently having, is going to be island. All right. So what we're doing before that is finding all of the islands that surround the piece we're currently placing. Then in here, we're basically saying that if there's more than one island that already exists, we basically have to merge them together into a single island. And so we go through all of the islands we found, and we add all of their pieces in here to that new island we created. And at the same time, we get the piece at the position that we thought the island was in. And we're basically saying that its island is new island we just created. So now down here, we can say that at grid position, actually we can use that later. First we need to say if ds list size of islands is exactly 1, then we can just add to that island. So we can say that island is equal to il at position 0, and that's about it. No, we need to add to the island, so we can say ds list. No, we should do that at the end, because now we say if ds list size il is 0. So if we didn't find any islands yet, we have to create a new one. So we say island equals ds list create. And now down here we say ds list add. So we're basically adding the current coordinate to island, which is whatever underscore x underscore y was. So underscore x underscore y. I just realized I probably did something wrong up here. Yeah, I just got the offsets. It should be underscore x plus offsets underscore y plus offset. Here we go. So I think this is pretty much it for place piece. Probably. We have, I don't know if we're going to need this list of islands here. I'm going to comment it out because I don't actually think we'll need it. So testing if this current script is working or not is going to be a bit difficult, so we may need to write a testing script. I see Kuro's asking, which do I prefer, C# or Java, and why? If someone was thinking about learning one of these or the other, which would you recommend? So C# I find much better than Java for many reasons. I think it's mostly due to all of the nice convenient features it has. Properties are really nice. So if you have a class, you can, and it has an attribute or a variable or whatever, you can give it like getter and setter methods directly inside a special syntax thing without having to write getters and setters. And when you call it, you can treat it as a variable, but it will actually call the getters and setters in the background, which is really, really neat. Yeah, C# just has lots and lots of extra really neat syntax, but for that very reason, I wouldn't recommend it straight away if you haven't done any object-oriented languages yet. So I would recommend doing Java first, also because it's used a lot more, but mostly because the syntax is much smaller. It's mainly the same as C#, but there's a lot less, so as you start learning it, you won't see as much different kinds of syntaxes when you start learning. And basically you can move on to C# afterwards, and everything you learned in Java you can already use in C# directly. You know, the compiler may complain a couple times, and you know, you just change it, just do what it tells you to do. There's very, very minor changes in syntax. Slightly different when it comes to namespaces and stuff, but it's pretty much, you know, straightforward once you already know Java. So I would definitely learn Java first and then move on to C#. But learning C# directly should be feasible. It's just a little bit harder because there's like a lot of different ways to do the same thing in C#, like lots of different syntax for it, and it may get a bit confusing at first until you but especially since you have to learn both lots of different kinds of syntax as well as all different concepts. With Java, you can, you know, you always see the same kind of patterns. I think it's a bit easier if you haven't done any object orientation before. Alright, so I think this is it for this script. It's probably wrong, but whatever. I'm gonna go back in here and actually I just realized this tile map is gonna be a problem, so let's just remove it. We're just gonna use the sprites directly. So I'm gonna delete this tile map, go inside here and actually change this to be an array. Limitations for free additional GMS2 are a bit harsh. Yes, they are. Most of what I'm doing today you could probably do in GameMaker Studio 1 if that's what you have. Wait, let's go back here and delete this. Oh, it's not going to actually ask for anything. Okay, I'm going to image, resize all frames down to 32 by 32. And again, I'm just going to recreate my sprites. The reason I'm doing this is the tile map is just going to get in the way. It would be more efficient to use one, but this really won't matter this much. Where can you find some tutorials about HLSL 11? I'm not entirely sure. I don't really follow tutorials for HLSL. I just looked online, depending on what I'm doing. It's if you know C and stuff like that, it's pretty similar. I don't know. And if you really know GLSL and C, you can kind of use the C syntax and write GLSL in a way. It's, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I would recommend you learn GLSL first if you haven't though, because it can be used in more places and it's a little easier in my opinion. Let's add a draw event. Draw. And we're just going to draw our board. So for that, we're going to use a double for loop. We're going to say for var underscore x equals 0, underscore x is smaller than width underscore x plus plus, and for var underscore y equals 0, underscore y is smaller than height, underscore y plus plus, and parentheses. Then I'm just going to check whether I created my grid. Yes, I did. Var p equals grid at position underscore x underscore y. Then var c is going to be equal to p at position 0 is what we said. You know GLSL, but sometimes limits are pretty bad. That's true, though it depends what you're doing. I found lots of limits I thought existed you could actually get around using GLSL, not ES, because it does have VPOS and so on. But I do kind of see your point. Again, I'm not too sure where you can find tutorials. I haven't really looked at tutorials myself, so I'm not entirely sure. First of all, I should actually get my P and check whether it actually exists. So if P is not equal to undefined, and put this in here. And I should probably initialize my grid to hold undefined everywhere first. So I'm going to do this now. ds grid set region. So grid at position 0, 0 with height. Probably should be -1. And the value is going to be undefined. Arrays have only 178 max length. Is that in GLSL or? Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't use arrays in shaders all that much, especially big arrays. You're not going to have too much luck dealing with like iteration and stuff like that in any shader or any shading language. If you're looking at iteration, which is what you tend to use arrays for, you're gonna have terrible performance. So keep that in mind. And then so C is gonna be 0, 1, I guess is what I'm gonna do. And so ds so draw sprite. Sprite is going to be s pieces c, and then x and y is going to be underscore x times. I'm going to use magic numbers for now because I am lazy. It's not for iterations. Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the limit in HLSL is, but if that's the solution, just Google HLSL tutorial, whatever. Just look at existing code. It should be pretty straightforward. So you may be a bit confused by structs and whatever, but if you know C, it shouldn't be too bad. If you're looking to render chunks of data by sending arrays, you're probably doing it very wrong. Use textures instead. Yeah, you should be using textures. Alright, it's not drawing anything because I'm obviously not doing anything. What I'll do is inside my OGame, add some placing code. So mouse, global left pressed. By the way, Sweet Celestia, I'm assuming you're making some kind of a 2D Minecraft kind of game. If you are, use shaders. It's much better. Alright, so if you know C++, you know structs, and if you know structs, you should be able to read HLSL code already. So find some examples online and just modify them. Alright, so this will be placing some piece. So I'm first going to mod my mouse coordinate by 32. No, I'm going to div it by 32 to get the x and y position. So I'm going to say var underscore x is going to be mouse x div 32. Again, magic numbers, I don't care. I'm not here to make a full proper game. If you are making a full proper game, make sure to initialize this as a variable called like piece size or something. Then I'm going to place piece at position, yeah, underscore x underscore y, whoops. Yep, I need to make better performance for game engine. I don't know what you're answering yup to, but if you're answering yup to the Minecraft style game thing, definitely use textures. You should hit up on the forums. Mishmash, he's making a game similar to that. He's using textures and getting great results from it. So you should contact him. And let's just place piece 1 for now. See if this were... Oh, wait. I should also probably place the object in the room. Otherwise that's not going to work. Here we go. And obviously, if I'm placing a black piece, I'm not going to see it. So I'm just going to change this background to some brownish color, like so. Maybe a bit. Here we go. Just so it looks a bit like wood, kind of. I don't know. All right, so it's not doing anything, which is a problem. Probably because my place piece doesn't actually do anything to the grid. So once you've done adding the piece to the island, you should probably say that grid at position underscore x underscore y is going to be equal to... you can send him a personal message on the forums. He will probably answer. If you look on the forums as well, he's been answering to a topic, I don't remember the name, but he was basically talking of about how he did his technique. Anyhow, grid x and y will be equal to, first of all, the color that we chose, which is color. And then the island, was it? I think that's how we did it. Yeah, island, which is like so. Now, one thing I realized is that we're checking for island, but we're checking for any kind of grid. We should really be checking whether it's the same piece or not. So we should do if p at position 0 is equal to color. Save this, run. And here we go, we can place stuff and get errors. Let's try this again to see where it was. So I can place stuff on its own, and if I place next to it, it's fine. But if I place next to multiple, I get errors. I also realized that there's going to be a problem with my code, so we're going to have to fix that later. So first of all, trying to index this variable, which is not an array. We have a problem in here. This here is probably wrong. Yeah, it should be at position I. Save that. And something else we need to fix as well is that at the moment we're adding the list, but we should only add it if it's not in the list yet. So if ds list does not have contained ds list find value, I'm going to check what that returns when it doesn't contain it. Oh wait, no, we don't want find value, we want find index. And so that's going to return -1 if there isn't. So I can actually just do if ds find index is equal to -1, then you can add the ds list. And I'm getting some kind of, oh yes, ds list, and this is let's see, if it's not already in IL, whoops, caps lock, and the value is P1. There we go. Save that and run. So already, so we can place this. This should no longer crash, and I can also join. Okay, I got another data structure with index does not exist. So that means we're currently storing a data structure line 49. So at some point island doesn't exist. So it could be this here. It could be that we're not setting this correctly anymore, which would be annoying. So every time we go through this, we get the piece, which is grid at position pos 0 and 1, which is what we add to the grid. Wait, what? No, this is not what we add to the grid. Oh wait, hang on. To the island we add positions. So we get our position from the other island, and then we get the piece at that position, and we say that it's island. Oh, yes, copy on right is always a problem. Let me check I'm not doing any of these things where I'm setting arrays. All seems good. Let's save and launch. Hey Matharu, how are you doing? I remember that you once mentioned on the status update that everyone pronounces your name wrong. It's like Matharu. I'm sorry, I probably got it wrong again. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be throwing many errors anymore. So that's great. We can start, I'll add a right click to be able to test the black ones as well. So I'm basically going to copy this, paste it, and put 0. Save and run. Matharu. The th is hard. Matharu or something. Yeah, I'm sorry, I probably got it wrong again. Alright, so now we can start adding the surrounding script to see if an island is getting surrounded. And this is when I realize we may need that list of islands, maybe? Or we can just create new, we can get this script here and basically create a script that gets surrounding islands, and whenever you place a piece down, you can only really block a surrounding island, you know, by pure logic. So I'm going to do get surrounding islands. Okay, so let me just check how many we are now. 14, so there's quite a lot of you, more of you, since I actually described what we're doing. We're making a game of Go. So Go is a game, a board game where you have to surround enemy pieces with your own pieces. And it's interesting to program because you don't surround a single piece, you can surround a whole bunch of pieces. And so the thing I'm trying to solve is efficiently checking if a bunch of pieces are surrounded. So it returns a list of surrounding islands, and parameters will be _x and _y. And it's just going to be any island, or should I do any island of a certain color is probably what I should do. Actually, I don't need underscores here yet. And then I can do var _x equals argument 0, var _y equals argument 1, var color equals argument 2. So I'm going to just actually copy this thing here. Facebook complaining I haven't posted in a while, even though it's been like under a week. So, and then we can return IL. one thing we have to check is that this is all going to work fine. We don't have offsets, so I can actually cut offsets from here. This all seems okay. Yeah, and now I can actually remove this here and say var il equals get surrounding islands at position X, Y with the same color as we want. So this should still work fine. And then if I go in here, no, not here. If we go in, we should actually create a new script. We should do, actually, I'm not entirely sure now. Inside place piece. So we've placed our piece and everything. Now what we want to do is check surround. So we want to check all the enemy islands around us. Hang on, I'm receiving people asking questions. It's always distracting me. Sorry. So we want to check whether we're surrounding something. So we want to get all the islands around us. I'm just going to rename it SI for surrounding islands, I guess, is okay. Get surrounding islands at position X and Y. And this time we want the other color. So color is either 0 or 1. So if it's 0, we want it to be 1. And if it's 1, we want it to be 0. So we can do 1 minus color. So if color is 1, we're going to get 0. And if color is 0, we're going to get 1. I think that works. So we have all our surrounding islands, enemy surrounding islands. So we can say for var I equals 0, I is smaller than ds list size si, ds list size si. Yeah, that's right. I plus plus. And what we want to do now is loop through all of the pieces in that island. So for var I equal j equals 0, j is smaller than ds. Actually, we should probably get the list here. So we say var is for island or whatever equals si at position I. So then for every piece in that island, ds list, actually, yeah, ds list size is j plus plus, we want to say var p equals is at position j. Now we have piece. Now a piece is a color and an island. What we want to do, no wait, hang on. The piece is going to be the position, so actually I should call this pause. And then what we want to do is check whether around that surrounding position, whether or not there is a free space. So what we do is we add, we're going to copy this offset thing. And we're actually going to loop through that offset again. So I'm going to paste this here, actually cut this out. Whoops. Oh, I pressed Control Z. We want to copy this here, up here, because we're going to keep it for a while. This is not the cleanest code, but it will work. So for every offset, we're going to say var p equals grid at position pause 0. Oh, first we need to actually get the offset. So var offset equals offsets I. I can't use I, I'm already using I and j, so let's use I, j, k is the next one. K plus plus at position k. If pause 0 plus offset 0 pos 1 plus offset 1. So now we are getting, let me see, the grid position around the island that we're currently checking for. So here we're going for every island. We want to check var surrounded or var free. Hang on. Make a zoom a bit smaller. I assume you're talking about this. I can also just hide the resource tree and we can already see more of the code. Like so. Whoops. It's scrolling. I'm a little bit confused. Okay, here we go. So now that we I lost what I was doing. We want to check whether it's going to be surrounded or not. So actually I'm going to call it var free, whether it has a free spot, and I'm going to set it to false at first. And then I'll say free equals free or p equals undefined. So basically undefined. So basically if it's free, it's just basically a flag that we're setting whether it has a free spot or not. And if one of the spaces around our current piece we're checking is free, then the whole island is free. And then down here we can say if free equals false. So if there wasn't a free spot, we want to delete the entire island. So I'm going to say for, we want to basically copy this little thing here and start removing pieces from that island. So we can say grid at position pos 0 pos 1 is going to be equal to undefined. And finally delete our list. ds list destroy at position at id is. So hopefully that should allow us to surround things. Let's find out. I can use bit or instead of plus. I'm not using plus, sorry, I'm using or. Oh, bit or. I wouldn't use bit or, I'm using Boolean or. Alright, so surrounding a single piece works. Let's see if surrounding multiple pieces work. Yes, it is working very well. I'm actually very surprised. Wow, you can now surround pieces, as you can see. And it doesn't matter what shape it is, it can easily find that the piece is surrounded. And it works for every color. Now there are a couple more things to do. And that's great because we still have a bunch of time to work on this. So, well, I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I didn't think I could get surrounding working in under that much time. However, we just realized there was a bug right here. I don't know if you realized I've been surrounding it and it didn't go. I even get a problem. Oh, I think I know why that is. I think it's because right now we can overwrite existing pieces and it destroys our island completely. So when we place a piece, we first need to check whether X or Y is free. So we need to say if grid at position underscore X underscore Y is not equal to undefined. Undefined. So if there's already something, then we want to return false, saying it didn't work. And then right at the bottom here, we're going to return true, saying it did work. Alright, robust dude. I actually need to run it right now to test whether it's working. So it's making a game of Go which is you have to surround the enemy pieces. So the first player could be placing pieces like so, or like so, and then the second player could go around, surround his pieces, and their pieces go away. So here we go, and I cannot place where someone has already placed. Normally it's turn by turn, but I haven't added that mechanic in yet. But as you can see, it's working with pretty much any shape. There is something to change now, and it's to make sure you cannot place a piece if it's going to get surrounded. Like right here, I should not be able to place it where I just placed it. And that should be not too hard to check. We just need to check whether it has a free space when placing it. So up here, I get surrounding islands. Right here, when we check undefined is false, we should also check if it has a free space around it. So I'm actually going to copy this offsets thing here and move it up. Okay, this code is getting really quite messy, but tell me in the comments if you can follow. I don't think, I would be surprised if you do, because I'm starting to lose it. But I don't know. Let's loop through our offsets. Var I equals 0, I is smaller than hey, thanks robust dude. If I is smaller than array length 1D offsets, increase I, and we can say the var offset equals, let me think, offsets position I. So we now want to check whether there is either a friendly piece around you. Actually, no, we want to check whether if we're adding to an island, the island should still be free. So let's actually remove this from here. Let's go down to where we realize that there is an island or multiple islands. We first want to check whether we're still going to be free after we do this, which is going to be a challenge, because we're going to have to, in this one here, we're going to have to loop through every single one of our, actually we could do it up here. We have a list of islands, so we can list through all of the surrounding islands and make sure that their free space is not the one we're about to occupy. So we're going to say if, no, we're going to say for var I equals 0, I is smaller than ds list size il I plus plus. So this will be all of our islands. So var is for the current island we're working on is going to be il at position I. And now what we want to do, so now we have a current island and we want to check whether this island is still going to be free. So we're going to have a new variable here called free, set it to false at first, and then say for each piece inside this island. So for var j equals 0, j is smaller than ds list size of is j increment j. Did I see the tutorial about cave generation on Unity by CMS League? I didn't see it. I don't watch many tutorials because that would be time taken away from me making tutorials, I guess. I do when it's something that seems interesting. Cave generation, I've been looking at a couple different algorithms on how to make cave generation, but I haven't looked into it seriously. I'll be checking, probably be checking it out because I am going to be working on, I am working on a game which will probably need it at some point. Kind of made in the same way, says Sweet Celestia. Can you say how? Use comments, dude. Yes. So here we are checking, sorry, I should probably do that. Here we're checking that there will still be a free space. Here we're going for each island, for each adjacent island. And here we are for each piece and island. So we have each piece, so we're going to say var, so it's actually going to be a position. So var pos is going to be equal to island at position j. And then we want to make sure that it will have a free space. So for var k is equal to 0, k is smaller than array length 1D offsets. We're using a lot of offsets. K++, and then I'm going to say var offset equals k at position, offsets at position k, and then var p equals grid at position pos 0 plus offset 0, probably put a space here, pos 1 plus offset 1. When he used classes, are you bitwise for storing multiple data? Yeah, you can do that. I'm actually working on a struct generator, which seems to be working really well so far. I've started to put it, I started to share it online, and people seem to think it's a good idea. I haven't actually seen anyone use it yet, so I don't know if people actually like it. But it allows you to do quote-unquote classes in GameMaker. It doesn't do functions yet, but I'm working on that. So we have a piece, and we want to make sure that a piece is either undefined or it has to be undefined and not where we're about to place it. So if p equals undefined and undefined and let me think, pos 0, and I'm probably gonna have to put this in, and pos 0 is not equal to, let's do it that way, and not pos 0 equals wrong thing, underscore x, and pos 1 equals underscore y. And actually we need to change this to pos 0 plus offset. In that case, I'm actually going to do this, var ox equals underscore x plus, no wait, why am I, yes, pos 0 plus offset 0, and var oy equals pos 1 plus offset 1. So now I can use these instead, just to make my code a bit shorter. So if not ox equals xx and oy equals underscore y. So basically, if there is a free spot that we're not about to use, then free equals true. And I could probably break, actually. I should probably break. However, breaking of the right loop is going to be weird. So I'm actually going to break this one. And then here I'm going to say, wait, this is the right. Here. Ooh, this is going to be weird because we could be blocking. This is going to be free for each island. I should do this for each island. So I'm going to move this variable down to here. So if this current island is free, currently isn't, but then we check that it is free for. So down here we can say if free break. And then down here, if not free, So if we're not free, then we're going to return false. We didn't make it. Actually, here I'm checking if P is undefined. Yeah, that should be about right. Let's try this. What type of game I'm making? Mid-stroke sniper. Well, I'm actually going to show you right now. We're making a game of Go. So the game of Go is you can place a bunch of pieces and you have to surround the other piece in order to capture them. And right now I am working on this game, as you can see, and I'm trying to make it such that right now you should not be able to place a piece between those 4 white pieces. However, you can right now, and that's not quite correct, because you shouldn't be able to place somewhere where you will be surrounded afterwards. So apparently this isn't quite working. So right now I'm saying for every island of the same color. Oh, that's right, because I'm checking for every existing island. So I'm going to check whether that works or not first. Whether it works for existing islands. So let's say that this player built this. Right, I cannot place it here because I would be surrounded otherwise. But the black can. So now I need to check whether we don't have an island yet. So if there isn't an island yet, we first want to check that we won't be surrounded. And this is pretty easy. We just do for var I equals 0, I is smaller than array length 1d offsets, I++, var offset equals offsets at position I, I'm making Go so I can test something my AI on with Mixkinex next week. Yes, I'm totally not making AI. Go AI is incredibly complicated, at least for me. AI in general is pretty complicated, but Go AI is mind-blowingly complicated. I don't want to do deep recursive like tree traversing techniques and all that. Too much work, especially in GameMaker. I'm just going to make a very simple turn-by-turn player versus player. But next week I am making Skynet, so obviously I'll be able to check. So we have our offset, and then we just want to say if, let's see, we want to check whether we're free. So we're currently not free unless we say so otherwise. So we say if offset if underscore x plus offset 0. Sorry, we want to get the grid. So var p at position underscore x plus offset 0 underscore y plus offset 1. If p equals undefined, then we are good, we're free. And we can break. And over here we can say that if we're not free, then we need to return false. We cannot do this move. Let's check it out. We get an error. Expecting a number, okay. Wait, what? That can't be right. Let me try again and actually read the error message a bit more carefully. All right, line 66. Just let's find value 1. But I is not an array. I is very clearly a number. I don't get it. Line 66. Var offset equals offsets I. Oh, offsets. Oh, yes. Offsets is an array, not a list. So I should remove the accessor and go. Alright, so now if I build an I like so, I'm not able to place in the middle of it unless I am white. Perfect. So now I can start, let's start building a turn system. And yes, Sweet Celestia, I am using a lot of offsets. I think it's a really nice way of doing it. I see lots of people like just copying the same code 4 times and stuff like that. Just use an offsets array. I should probably make offsets like a macro or something. I quite like it that way. So let's have a turn system. So I can say turn, I actually don't need this anymore. Let's just go up here, turn equals zeros because it's zeros turn. And every time we click, we're gonna place turns thingy. So we're gonna check if piece worked. So we're gonna say var okay. I don't know, okay will be true if we manage to place or not. So if okay, turn equals 1 minus turn. So if it's 0, it becomes 1. If it's 1, it becomes 0. And then I can remove this global right pressed event. We don't need it anymore. Whoops. Delete it. And let's run. Now there's a bunch of more rules in Go where you have to count score, and there's like this whole territory system. But it's quite, I don't even understand it, so I don't know. So if I press a piece, see it placed the black one, now it's white, black again, white, black, and so on. And I can start surrounding this, and it goes away. And what's nice, if I place a white one here, say a black one here, and I try to place a white one, it's still the white's turn, right? Until I manage to place a valid move. So it's pretty nice. So it's a working game of Go. One more thing to do, I think. Turn equals not turn. Yes, I could do it that way, but it would work perfectly fine in this instance. But I'm not really using turn as a boolean. I'm using it as a number, as in it's number 1. It's a turn number 1 or it's turn number 2. You know, like, is it the 0th player's turn or the 1st player's turn? And I would be slightly like, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure I would do it with this would work, but like turn equals not turn, but I'm not going to because it's not exactly what I mean. Okay, so now I'm going to create the background, which is going to be showing our, I don't know how to explain this, our board. So I'm going to actually resize this image, resize. We need top left corner, top right corner, bottom left, bottom right. So that's 4. We need and a middle piece, and we need edges on either side, and top and bottom. That's a total of 8 pieces. So we need a 3x3 grid of 32 by 32. So 3 times 32 is 6496 by 96. Apply. So we're gonna start off with a nice, let's just use some kind of brownish color, and let's create our grid. I'm gonna use some gray, little size. So each of these are 16 by 16. So now we'll have our middle piece. I'm gonna change to this one. Still not. Why are these all uneven size? That's really bothering me. Let's just do it that way. This will be our middle piece. Whoa, that's not quite right. Right, this one here will be our middle piece. We can have our top left corner. Our top right corner, which will be that way. So now I'm just making a board, and I think it's all I'm gonna do today. So really there's not gonna be much more programming. Maybe I'll just fix a single bug I can think of right now, which is when you click outside of the board. But yeah, this is just me finishing it off so it looks a bit prettier. I don't think it's too much of an exciting moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I miscounted because I don't think we're gonna. I think I need one more cell because now I can fit the top pointing one in here, or like bottom pointing one, and I'm missing just one cell, which is bothering me. Let's see. I missed this one here. Wait, no. This is 1, 2, 3. This is another set here. Last set. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm missing just one, which is a shame. Yeah, I'll do a very simple. I'll also add a bit of UI to say whose turn it is or something like that. I will. No, I need to go up here. Image, resize all frames. Just need to slightly resize it by one more height. So 96 plus 32 is something 128 probably. Oh, and naturally everything gets weird. Is there a grabbing thing? Yeah. Because I resized down the middle. Alright. Whoops. Select. Where is it? Image. Cancel selection. Fill this in. And let's add the final top facing edge. And we can go make our board and add a bit of UI. Just the minimum for it to look a bit more like a game. Hey, one Chacon, I don't know, 99 games. How you doing? If you just arrived, this is like the end of the stream. We're making a Go game. And it's pretty much done for what I want to do. I don't want to go like add all the rules in because first of all, I don't know them. But yeah, so let's open our room here. Whoops, our room. Add a tile map thing down here. Get our board, and I can make the background something like blank again. And I'll start building up the board. So we need the top left corner. Then it's 17 of those, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Top right corner. Then I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That makes 19. And this makes building the rest of the board much easier, no more counting. So yes, in Go, you place the pieces on the knots of the board. And I'm just gonna make this, whoops, that's a bit too big. I could have used auto tiling to make this a bit easier on myself, but whoops, but I didn't, so. Because this is pretty fast to do. Here we go. So I can go back down to 1 and let's check out how it looks for now. So a board, and I can start placing pieces on it, and it seems to be working just fine. I just need one more thing now, and it's to, okay, so for some reason I can't place it. I can place it here, but the black won't be placed here, and that's not right. That should be working. So there's definitely a problem checking whether you can or not place pieces. Alright, so there's definitely a bug, but I'm afraid that I'm gonna have to stop the stream here. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be streaming like this for a while. But today was special though. I did it on Saturday. I normally stream on Fridays. So I'll see you guys next Friday, around the same time, you know, where I'll be making another game. So, hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time.